Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thanks for watching. Yesterday I did a video on what have I been up to. You know, I used to do a lot of videos on when I built my own house, the homestead, all the things around here, and you know, we're still doing all those things. But like I said yesterday, I've spent the last 18 months working on this novel, and it started off. I wrote the book on building my house, and I wanted to. Once the house was done, I started building a homestead because we came out here, there were just woods. You know, we built, we scratched out, everything here, cleared the land, built the house, built the barns, everything. So I thought maybe I should write a book on that, on how we did it. And it just wasn't working. Sometimes ideas are great, but it's just, there's so many books out there on homesteading. I thought, how is this value added? I mean, I learned everything from watching other people. So that kind of faded away, and I thought, why don't I write something, and which led me to write a story, kind of like a parable. Can we learn from a story? And I think I've done that. So for the last 18 months, I've been working on this book, Return of the Raptor. It's about 350 pages. It's available as of today on Amazon. So I thought I'd do a series of videos talking about some of the things that I learned and some of the things I cover in the book. It's really amazing when you go on an endeavor like this, the things you have to research and learn. It's incredible. And I thought that, all the things we do out here, I thought I had a pretty good idea, but I had so much more to learn. And in doing this, I've learned a lot. But one of the people that I watch online is Joe Fox on Viking preparedness, and he often says, "Contemplate the unthinkable." Think about the worst thing that could happen, and how do you react? And apparently some people just don't like to think about bad things happening. For some reason, it gives me a weird comfort when I think, not that I want bad things to happen, but I'm pre-planning when things happen and how I'll react, so that when it happens, it's just following the plan that you've created in your mind. And obviously you can't think of everything, but as far as preparedness is concerned, if you do a handful of things, you'll be prepared for almost everything. So, in the book, the scenario, and I don't want to give too much away, is an EMP attack, an EMP, electromagnetic pulse attack happens. And to what extent, they don't know. All they know, the characters of the book, are that nothing works. The cars don't work, phones don't work, water stops flowing, everything stops. Unfortunately, like often happens in life, things don't happen at the most opportune time. So one of the people in the family, the father, his name's John, he's away from the home. He's away from the house, quite a ways. So he's 30 to 40 miles away from home when the attack happens. And, he has to get back home. That's pretty bad, right? So that starts the book, and, his journey home, and then the story continues from there. But do we think about that? Do we think about what happens if we're away on a trip and something like this happens? That doesn't have to be an EMP attack. We could have it depends on where you live. I mean, there's enough natural disasters or whatever, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, that could interrupt life as normal. And I think if we just do a few things to prepare, it would save a lot, right? It would cover a lot of our needs. The rule of threes, which a lot of people know, and it's in the book. You got 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So, if you just go using that, food is pretty important. Water is very important. Just things like that. Like if you're away in your car 30 or 40 miles, and mainly women, do you have comfortable shoes that you can wear? Are they in your car? In this scenario, if you I don't know a lot about women's fashion, but You know, if you had some of these uncomfortable shoes they wear and you had to walk 30 miles home, what would that be like? Do you have a little water in your car? Do you have a little food in your car? These things don't cost a lot. And I mean, writing this book, and I don't know if you've never, and this is the first novel I've written. You know, I wrote the little book on how I built my house. That was like 50 pages. It's really weird how much I had to kind of get into the character and think about all the bad things that could happen. How would a normal person react? And it does kind of get you thinking. And you don't have to write a book to do that. You can think, what would I do if the power goes out? We've all probably experienced a power outage. What if the power was out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Your freezers are starting to go bad. That's stuff we all, these characters in this book all went through. What do we do with all of our food? How do we get water? How do we, wash our clothes? People get hurt. How do they deal with that? So it's just a good exercise. Heck, like I said, you don't have to write a book to do it. You can write it down on paper. If you contemplate the unthinkable, it may be uncomfortable, but like a lot of things, like working out or any other type of exercise, this is a mental exercise into what would you do and how would you react. What do you do when your kids are away at school or away at college and something like this happened? We've had cell towers, nationwide cell outages for like half a day, and it's like pandemonium. I remember that happened not that long ago, and I mean, we had some events we were going to, and it was like people were losing their mind. And I'm not that old, but I mean, nobody had cell phones when I was a kid. We did okay, but it becomes a crutch. In fact, to talk about that in the book as well, that nobody knows how to navigate a city. You just plug it in your phone, where people used to know, kind of where things were. Just something to think about. Don't know if that's interesting or not, or something beneficial or not. I don't know if it's going to change anybody or not, but just it's interesting. And I think, in reading this book, you could learn, just a scenario that might happen. And then you can plug yourself in. How would you react? How is your life set up? Where are your kids' school compared to your work? What would happen if you had no communications? In the book, they have no communications, but they find a workaround. So there are things, even in an EMP or whatever, coronal mass ejection or attack or war or whatever, there are things that we can do and that have worked in the past. One of them's here, ham radio. If it's stored in an appropriate way, it should be fairly safe. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of facets to preparedness, and for a lot of people has a negative connotation. I don't know. Like I said in my last video, I shouldn't say nobody, a lot of people don't want to be labeled as a prepper, but I mean, everybody wants to be prepared. Nobody wants to be in a scenario where you're not prepared. Nobody wants to be in a scenario where your children are hungry and you have nothing to feed them. So I'll give you, and I really struggle with my book because I have a hard time, as my wife says, explaining what the book's about. I want to keep so much because I want you to read it and I want you to experience it in the chronological order in which I spent so much time developing, so you can learn and enjoy and whatever. But I need to give a little bit too, right? So it's not a gore book. This book, I think I put on Amazon that it's good for 10 years old and up, but there's no profanities, there's no lewd, there's no gore. I mean, it's that bad things are happening, but I don't know that we have to be inundated just like TV. You're gonna sit in your living room and watch people be murdered every night. I didn't want to do that. I wanted a book that my kids and young kids could read that could be good. There's good, what I consider to be good Christian values in there. There are people that are trying to help other people, and it doesn't always work out. There's people that open themselves up to help people, and it doesn't work out well. And these are all things that we could think about. Like, we help people, but it is at a risk. And, one thing that I wrote, and I've had, obviously I've had people read it, edit it, and look at it, is they question some of the actions that some of the characters do. And I said, well, that's what they did. Yeah, maybe they should have worked. They should have done better. But doesn't that ring true with all of us? Don't things happen and we could have done better? I don't think most of us know. Most of us in America, we have just lavish nearly everything. I mean, for crying out loud, our poor people have huge TVs and cell phones. Not minimizing that, but I mean, we don't have it bad in our entirety, right? There's people in this earth that are really suffering, but there are consequences for everything, and opening yourself up, can be good or bad. And some of the characters, even though they are, Christians and whatever, or claim to be, they don't really act all that great. You think that's realistic? I mean, I do, so I wrote it. So I don't know. I think it's worth a read, and I'm not just here to make commercials or whatever. But as I explained before, I spend a lot of time making videos when I built my house and when I built the homestead, and giving you guys tours and all this stuff. And that was great. It's fun. No big deal. But a lot of people do that, and I wanted to do something that would still transfer some knowledge and stuff that I've learned. And I thought I knew really what I was doing when I started this project, but I can tell you after, I learned a lot and had a lot to learn, and I still could learn a lot. And yeah, that's about it. So once again, thanks for watching the videos. Thanks to all you guys all my subscribers. Not a real big channel, but I appreciate all the comments and stuff, and I've learned stuff from some of you guys' comments for sure. And that's about it. So anyway, the book's available now, Return of the Raptor. It's on Amazon. I appreciate it. I'm going to do some more videos. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, put it down below. All the normal stuff. Hey, do whatever you want. You want to share the video, share it. If you don't, that's fine. I mean, it's just something I do, and I hope that you find value in it. So thanks for watching. See you next time.